Writing and solving equations in geometry. The sum of the measures of the angles in a triangle is 180 degrees. You can write and solve an equation to determine a missing angle measure of a triangle. Write and solve an equation to determine the value of x in the figure. If we look at the triangle, I see there's 43 degrees, x degrees, and then there's this little box, which, if you recall, means that it is 90 degrees. So because the sum of all these angles is 180 degrees, that's how we're going to write our equation. X plus 90 plus 43 equals 180. And if you recall, we need to combine like terms. Well, 90 and 43 are like terms because they do not have a variable. X is not a like term to those because it is a variable. So x stays by itself. X plus, and then we have 90 plus 43, which is 133, and that equals 180. Now remember, your ultimate goal is to get that x by itself on one side of the equal sign, so you know exactly what the value of x is. In order to do this, we have to get rid of the plus 133, so we're going to do the opposite operation. We're going to subtract 133 so we can get rid of it. But if we do that on one side of the equal sign, remember, it has to be done on the other side as well. We have to keep our equation balanced. So x plus 133 minus 133 cancels out to just x. So x equals, and then 180 minus 133 is 47. And because we are talking about degree measures, we need to put our little degree symbol. So x equals 47 degrees. One thing that you need to make sure you do on every single one of these problems, super important, is to balance. Write and solve an equation to determine the value of x in the figure. I'm actually going to have you do this one completely on your own because we have done things like this in the past, and so you should know what to do. Go ahead and write your equation and solve. Remember to balance on both sides and show all your work, and we'll check in class tomorrow. When you're done with this problem, go ahead and move on to the next problem in the video. The sum of the measures of the angles in a quadrilateral is 360 degrees. You can write and solve an equation to determine a missing angle measure of a quadrilateral. For example, here we have a quadrilateral that looks kind of like a kite. If we add all of these angle measures together, we should get 360 degrees. So when we write the equation, we will have x plus 93 plus 103 plus 62 equals 360. And so I'm going to combine the like terms one step at a time. So I'm only going to combine these first two just to make sure I don't make any mistakes. 93 plus 103, that is 196. So we have x plus 196 plus 62 equals 360 degrees. And now I still have these two like terms that I can combine. So we will have x plus 258 equals 360. And again, I want to get that x by itself on one side, so I need to get rid of the plus 258. So I'm going to subtract 258 from both sides because we need to balance. And 360 minus 258 is 102, and we cannot forget our degree symbol. So x equals 102 degrees. Let's try another one. Write and solve an equation to determine the value of x in the figure. Well, as I look at this figure, I see that each of the four angles is 9x. So I'm going to write 9x plus 9x plus 9x plus 9x equals 360 degrees. And I know that a way that we can shortcut this is to do 9x times 4. And that's just 36x, right? Because if we added those all up, 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9, that's 36. And they're all like terms because they all have a variable. So that is 36x equals 360. So I want you to go ahead and finish this problem on your own, and we will check it in class tomorrow. Write and solve an equation to determine the value of x in the figure. Now again, it's a quadrilateral, so the sum of all the angles will be 360. So if I take all of the angles and add them up, they should equal 360. So let's do x plus 40, because that was one of the angles, plus 70 plus 110 equals 360. Now, I'm going to combine all the like terms, and I see that there are two terms that have the variable x, so I'm going to combine them. Remember, if there's an x without anything in front, then we just assume 1x. So 1x plus 1x is 2x, and then I'll just write plus 40, plus 70, plus 110 equals 360. There are no more terms with a variable, so now I can combine the terms without variables. And I'll start with 40 and 70. So we have 2x plus 110 plus another 110 equals 360. I can still combine the like terms that do not have variables, so I have 2x plus 220 equals 360. And my ultimate goal is to get that x by itself on one side. The first thing I need to do is get rid of the plus 220, so I'm going to subtract 220 from both sides. So I have 2x on one side equals 140 on the other side. And we are so close to having x by itself, but not quite there. 2x means 2 times x, and I just want x. So in order to get rid of the 2 times x, we have to divide by 2. And whatever we do on one side has to be done on the other side. Remember, balancing is important. So 2x divided by 2 is just x, and 140 divided by 2 is 70. So x is 70 degrees.